Hi, and welcome to the Not Your Normal Life show. I'm Naomi.
And I'm Aaron.
And this is where we talk about
the not so normal lives that we all live. Let's go. Welcome back.
Welcome back to the Not Your Normal Life show.
all right.
I'm Naomi.
And I'm Aaron. And this has been Not Your Normal Life. We'll see you later. I already did that last time.
Loser.
Well, we're so glad we're back. This is episode 32. 32. And today we wanted to discuss something that is always a hot topic inside this household, and that is whether you should go to college or not.
Ooh.
Don't know if we're going to title it that way, but we're going to tell you as we talk.
Yeah, so we have a lot of opinions about college.
We have too many
and
opinions
school.
about college. Thunk. Who would have thunk that the Shermans have, like, things to talk about?
Yeah.
And
one
feelings.
of those things we have a lot of feelings about is school and schooling and college. So I grew up in the household that was like, you go to college. You graduate high school and you just go to college. You go. Because that's what every American person does, is they go to college.
Apparently.
That's what I was told.
And my parents wanted me to go to college. Like, my sister went to college and brother went to college. Like, it wasn't that something my parents didn't want me to go, but I didn't feel pressure like
that you had to go.
Yeah, well, I never took SATs. Okay, so here's the thing. Naomi went to college. I didn't go to college. I joined the military. Naomi got a degree. And that's kind of
our story.
That's our story. And see you guys later. But I didn't feel pressure to go get my SATs done, to go look at colleges. I knew my parents didn't think that I really I didn't want to go to college, and I didn't feel it was right for me.
Well, do you think that you didn't have that pressure because you were the third child?
No,
I
don't think it was because I was the third. I just think...
Did your parents not pressure your other two? They just wanted to go?
They pressured April.
Okay.
Well, April kind of pressured herself. Yeah. She's like, I'm gonna go to college. Mm-hmm. I don't know. When I thought about it, I'm not someone that does well in school. And there's some people probably listening right now that's like, you have to make that judgment call on yourself. And I'm not telling you right now that you shouldn't go to college. If you want a certain job, if you want a certain degree, like if you want to do a certain thing, you do need to go to college. But for me, it's just school was not my thing. Like I had a C average across the board in high school. I barely passed everything, and school was not me. I didn't learn that way. I learned everything I had learned was hands-on. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love the military. Last episode, I talked about how much I hated the military and how much it wasn't for God. But what I learned is a lot of how I learn is hands-on learning. And that's what the military does. It's really hands-on.
You get some of that in college, Aaron.
I don't feel like you do.
You do a little.
Well,
maybe not in the same way.
Yeah. And then, so with you, so I didn't feel pressured to go. You felt pressured.
I didn't feel pressured, but it was just like the norm. Like everyone I knew was going to college. Yeah. My parents assumed I was going to college.
You also did Running Start, so you already were in college.
Here in Washington State, I don't know if it's everywhere else, but in Washington State,
they do programs like that everywhere.
Okay, I know that. I thought it was unique. Anyways, we have this Running Start program where if you're a junior in high school, you can apply, and you basically the last 2 years of high school, you're getting your associate's degree at the same time, which I still don't really understand how that works. I went through the program, and I don't understand how that works. How did I do 4 years in 2 years is what I'm saying.
What, associates in 2?
Yes, but I did the last 2 years of high school plus the 2 years of college. That's like 4 years of time.
Simultaneously.
I know that, Aaron.
You took college courses while you're there, and they counted towards high school credits.
Yes, but I'm skipping over. It's like skipping a grade. But you skip 2 grades to get to college.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's a great program. I really liked it.
And it helped. It only took...
But see, okay, here's the Enneagram 3 in me. Mm-hmm. I did it because it would shorten my time to get the same result. And that was my biggest thing is I'm like, oh, you mean I can get 2 years for free of college and get my 4-year degree in half that time?
Yes. Which is really cool. You did it in 2.5 years because you didn't know what you were doing.
I mean, my grades plummeted, so I
but then when you got
start in 2.5 years.
No, but you did college in 2.5 years because you didn't realize the classes you needed to take at the certain times. That's another thing is you got to be really careful when you go to college. I'm like realizing because you can literally...
You could go forever.
You
could pay forever.
And just be taking random classes and never get to the degree that you needed to get.
You could have a lot of partial degrees.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
No.
So
I did Running Start. So when I was in high school, I graduated high school with my associate's degree. And so I knew since I already had that, I was like, okay, well, I want to do 2 more years so I can get my bachelor's and get a real job.
Yeah.
So I did that. And I really wanted to go to a private Christian college because I was a Jesus lover. I still am, but I was really on fire. And I wanted to go to Christian college. I didn't even go.
Also because Matt Ramirez went there and you wanted to follow in his footsteps.
Sure. But I also love the school. Like,
it was a cool school.
I didn't go tour a bunch of schools. I wasn't that kind of kid that flew to different college campuses
you
around the country.
You went to the one school.
I went to 2 different Christian...
SPU
and Northwest University where I ended up going.
Yeah.
But I knew I needed to go to school and I went. Because that's what everybody does, is you just go to college.
Yeah, and I knew people going to college. Like, if you're from out of Washington State, we do a thing here in Washington State called the 13-year plan. And it's the most annoying thing ever. Naomi still has her 13-year plan. We were looking through stuff.
I threw it away, though.
And she threw her 13-year plan away. Oh, wow. What are we going to do now?
I've succeeded.
It is the most annoying thing ever because you need to make a plan for your 13-year. And I literally looked at my counselor and she's like, what is your 13-year? We got to put it together. I was like, my 13-year is to sit on a couch, eat food, and watch TV and go get a job. Like, I don't want to do anything that revolves around school. And that was just my thing. That's just how I felt. And she's like, you need to choose something. And I was like, all right, I'll join the military. 13-year plan. Join the military. Didn't do it for a few years after, but I still joined. But yeah, education's so weird nowadays because I look at a lot of people. I'll take Elon Musk, for example. Let's talk about Elon Musk real quickly. Elon Musk in an interview said literally college is only for an experience. It's actually, you don't really learn anything. You don't retain half the stuff that you learn in college because you're either 1, partying, or 2, you are so stressed out with your finals that you don't actually retain anything that you're doing because you're just focusing on a grade. Well,
and for most of the time, and granted,
unless you're like nursing school, a doctor, or like an engineer or something that those degrees I get.
And I want my doctors to make sure that they went to college because nobody would be touching me with no needle if they haven't gone to college.
But so Elon Musk talks about, he's like, you can literally learn everything that they're learning in college online. You can buy the books. You can self-teach yourself everything. You know, he self-taught himself like engineering and to work on spaceships. And like, he created his own company because he's like, I want to know how to do this. So he went and did it. You know, he went and learned it himself. He didn't have to go to some...
He went to college too.
He did. He went into college. He has his BA, but then he's like, it was such a waste of time. It's a waste of money. You can learn everything you need to. But the problem is, go ahead.
I respect somebody like that who has gone through the system and is successful as an entrepreneur. I respect that opinion because clearly they know what they're talking about because they're successfusel.
And you don't like my opinion where I'm just like...
No, your opinion's fine.
It's just a waste of money. I kind of just feel like, okay, so I've driven Uber a lot and I used to go up to like UW to pick up kids at like in the frat areas and stuff like that. And they're partying. And I'm like... You're on your mom and dad's dime, like going to college
or their loan.
And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, you just seem like all you want to do is party because all they do is complain about school. They complain about they have finals. And then when they actually what they really want to do is just go out into clubs and go party and hang out with friends. It's like, you could have done that without paying all the money for that. It would have been easier. But the benefit of college is it does help you get a good job. Like me and your situation, I'm unemployed.
By choice.
Because I focus on my kids. And Naomi, because she went to school and she has her bachelor's degree, has opened doors for her to get very successful jobs.
But my bachelor's degree is in communications.
It's the most simplest one of them all.
And that's another thing. I will say it is very hard at 18 to decide what you want to go to school for. There are those really special, unique individuals that have always wanted to be teachers or have always wanted to be doctors, and they've just known that that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
I wasn't in that boat. I knew I wanted to get a good job, and I knew that college was, I thought, my way to get there. So I took the most generic degree, communications, because that's pretty basic.
Simple.
So I started to go down the rabbit trail of like media studies, communications.
No, yeah, we did radio that one time, remember? And look at us here.
Yeah,
it paid off.
Oh my God, Aaron.
Well, your degree paid off for us to do our podcast.
I'm so qualified to be a host on Not Your Normal Life. I have the degree to prove it and the loans. That's another thing. So yeah, I got my communications degree, and I'm actually working a job with my degree. Like I work in customer experience. You had to have that degree
in order to get this job.
And all the jobs that I've had leading up to the job I have today have actually used my degree, which is
in some ways,
cool.
shape or form.
Again, very generic degree, but it has gotten me to where I am today, and I'm very thankful for that. But there is a lot of that student loan debt, and I don't feel like at 18. So you're 18 years old. They tell you should go to college. You don't know what you want to do with your life, but you want to go to college. So you start looking at colleges. You pick the coolest one, to be honest. You pick the one that has maybe the better program that you're going to school for, and then the one that you like the best, and the one that your friends are probably going to.
That happens all the time.
And if you want to be in state or versus out of state, sometimes people want to go farther away from their family, so they'll find a college far away. So you have that decision to make of kind of what you want to do with your career, where you want to go to college and study. And
but you're 18. You can't make those choices.
On top of that, you get accepted into a college, and they put in front of you how much it will cost. And I still to this day remember signing those pieces of paper and didn't even giving a flying rat's butt what I was signing because I was so excited. I was excited because it was like adulthood. I'm going to go live in the dorms.
You only lived for 1 year, then you moved back with your mom.
Yeah, it wasn't for me, guys. It was not for me. I am not a dorm girl.
But yeah, and I have listened to a lot of people that talk about should you go to college, should you not go to college? Because I always wondered, did I make the right choice? And I feel like I made the right choice for myself because I'm dyslexic. I am dyslexic. I have a hard time learning in certain ways. And so school is not my forte. Like I'm right now learning first grade with Marcus. Marcus is learning all about first grade, and I'm also learning about first grade at the same time because it's this stuff I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that. Like super ease. At the end of the word, it makes the vowel say its name, and I'm like, I totally forgot about all this. And so I'm learning right now. But
oh boy.
I was listening to one person talking, forgot his name, but he was saying that if you can't decide whether you want to do college or not, take a year off. Take 1 year off out of high school. No. Take 1 year off from high school after you get out of high school. Take 1 year off. Go get a job. Just go get a McDonald's job or whatever kind of job. Just go work for a year. And at the end of the year, you should be able to kind of figure out a little bit more what you want to do with your life. So then at that point, you go to college if that's the route. Or you say, well, actually, I want to become like a diesel mechanic, or I want to learn how to code. Then you go to trade school and get your certificates and those things. And so it gives you a year of not wasting time. I know you hate this. I know you hate it. Because no, I think it's a great idea for certain people. For certain people.
Yes. But that could also extremely backfire. If you take a year, it really, really, really does depend on you
yes.
and your personality.
Well, I'm saying that, yeah.
For someone like me, at 18, if I would have took a whole year off, I don't know if that would have helped me. I think it would have made me more confused and sad, and then maybe lazy, and I wouldn't have gone to school.
Well, with me, I took a year off, and then I decided to join the military because I thought that was the right choice for me, and and spiritually, it probably wasn't the right choice, but like myself and who I am as an individual, it was perfect for me. Like I learned a lot. Oh, I just burped in the mic. Sorry. I feel like I'm a very capable individual because of my military background.
Yeah.
And I appreciate doing that. And I just think that if I would have just went off to college immediately and just gone off to community college or something like that, I don't think that would have benefited me. I think that would just put me in debt for no reason. And I would have like dropped out after a semester or after a year and gotten nothing out of it.
Okay.
And that's me. And there are individuals where I think you should take a break and be like, I'm going to take a year off. I've just been doing school for 12 plus years. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take a year off, get into the job force so that when if I do go to college, I know what I want to do. And you move in that direction that you want, because you realize when you get a paycheck every single week or every other week, you realize how much you're making at that.
That's true.
Cheap job. You'd be like, I don't want this. And then you start looking what jobs pay really well.
Yeah, that's true.
And then that's our next topic we want to talk about. Then you realize, petroleum engineers make 6-figure salaries being a petroleum engineer, and it only takes 4 years to become a petroleum engineer, and they make 6 figures out the door. Yeah, I want to go do that. Like those kind of ideas of just like taking the year off and realizing what it's like to live in the real world and pay bills and have a paycheck where you're like, that was only a $400. Like we were looking at your book when you worked at McDonald's. We were going through Naomi's stuff. We're just cleaning our house and stuff like that. And Naomi had a book that she like kept all of her bank statements. Because it was back when you had to do it like
when
manually.
There was no online baking.
There was like barely any online baking. And then Naomi's, you see it's like paycheck from McDonald's, $350 for 2 weeks. And I'm like, dude, that's like no money.
Well, I worked part-time.
I know you worked. Yes, you worked part-time, but it's like having those realizations. I think some people need to see that. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of people that just jump up into college that don't realize that like it sucks when you come out of it. And I think you could have a really strong leg up. Yeah, you're a year behind than other people. So what?
That doesn't matter.
Every year is 4 years, 5 years, 6. It doesn't matter. At the end of that, you're doing something. And like, that's what my sergeant used to tell me all the time. He goes, why don't you just re-enlist for 6 more years? What are you going to be doing in 6 years? I'll be like, probably sitting on a couch watching a movie, not out in the field in the cold. But he's like, every 6 years when you can re-up in the military, he was just like that. He was just like, why not do it? Because you're not doing anything else for 6 more years.
True.
If you just keep doing the same thing, you get to retirement after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on who you are. Like if you're somebody who gets really complacent really easily and is kind of hard to motivate, I guess it just depends. Like for me, if I took a year off and I worked, I probably would still go to college.
You probably would have.
Like, because I'm...
But then I think you would have been more, I know what I want to do now.
True. Or I know what I don't want to do.
Yes. And that's the big point, because a lot of people waste their first 2 years in college. You have to get your AA, of course, but you waste so much time with these nonsense elective courses that mean nothing.
Well, okay.
And you paid for them.
We need to start normalizing going to community college for your AA. I am so sick of
people should, yes.
It is literally your AA is the same everywhere. You have to
math, science, English.
It's like high school, but harder for 2 years. That's all you do. And maybe, you can take some electives that are geared towards the major that you do want.
Yep.
But go to community college. I'm so glad that I did. You
did Running Start.
I did Running Start, and it was free. But I am highly suggesting do not go get your AA at a really expensive private college that is going to cost you so much money when you could have done it for like a quarter of the price.
Yep. And just get your AA and then immediately go to the university.
Exactly.
And then your SAT scores and all those different things don't mean nothing.
True.
They don't mean anything. Once you have an AA, I don't think they mean as much.
Yeah.
I don't think they mean as much.
Yeah.
Because you're more likely to get into UW instead of Wazoo. And then you know how it is. Yeah. Everybody that goes to Wazoo is people that wanted to go to UW.
Oh my goodness. That's so mean.
And everybody that goes to UW or Wazoo were people that wanted to go to USC. So
it is, though. I feel like someone would have talked to me at 18 and really talked to me about the money.
Yep.
Because all I saw was shiny school that I get to live in, and I get to take classes I want to take towards a career that I kind of want. And and maybe that was just me, but I don't think so. I feel like it's a common issue is you think, oh, well, I'll have the job. I'll have the 6-figure salary to pay these off. No big deal. Well, depending on what you're going to college for.
It's depending.
I got a communication degree, so I'm not making 6 figures. But I do yet. But I do think that I wish somebody would have actually talked to me more about interest on my loans.
Yeah.
And while I'm in school, I could be paying down my student loans before I'm graduated so I could get
and paid off
some of that paid off.
On the principal. You're not even touching interest.
Exactly.
You're just paying
or like
principal.
Somebody who would have talked to me, because you guys, my interest has been...
I just wanted to point this out. Naomi's literally put her jacket on 2 or 3 times now since we've been doing this body. I just want to point that out.
I get warm. And then I take it off, and then I get cold.
And then she puts it back on. So go ahead. Finish your sentence.
Well, now I lost it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the interest. I wish someone would have talked to me about interest and what that even is. Because when I was 18, I just signed a piece of paper that said, sure, I'll pay you back all this money.
Shiny college.
And guess who's still paying that off?
We are.
Us. And now it's not even just
me.
And
I took it on.
It's Aaron and me.
I took it on.
You didn't go to college, but you sure got the debt.
It doesn't show up on my credit score, but it's still a part of my life.
Exactly.
But also someone else that we really Naomi read his book, and I've watched videos of his. I like always try and act like I've read the book, but it's Naomi that's read it. Then she tells me all about it.
Are we talking about Matthew McConaughey?
We're talking about Matthew McConaughey.
You guys,
go ahead.
A genius. No, I read his book Green Lights, and if you haven't read it, this has nothing to do with college.
No, it does though.
Actually, it does.
It does.
Because he okay, I won't spoil it for you, but he wanted to be a lawyer, actually. His family wanted him to be a lawyer like his whole life.
Yep.
He started to go to law school, and he was like, I ain't doing this. This is lame. Then he decided he loved writing. So he's like, I'm going to go to film school. So he goes to film school. While he's in film school, he starts doing like side jobs. He starts like doing commercials and like random acting jobs and like as extras. Yeah. And
not that movie yet. He hadn't done that movie yet.
Anyway, so he's like going to film school, but he's like skipping classes because he's actually doing movies.
Yeah, and they got mad at him, and he's like, why wouldn't I be out there? If I hit it, go and do it. And
yeah.
So he's a professor. He actually teaches.
Oh, yeah.
And he actually talks about it, and he tells the students he has like a writing class, a journalist class. And he says, if there's a protest on campus, you better get out of my class and go report on it. Mm-hmm. I think that's important too. If you go to college, that's the thing that frustrates me about college. It's just this cookie cutter, you got to do it this certain way. And maybe I'm just speaking because I've seen it in my life, but maybe some people are different. I think people learn way better. Maybe that's just me. I learn way better, but learning from self-experiences and getting out there and putting yourself out there to try and get better at something.
Yeah.
I love history. Naomi keeps telling me I should become a history teacher. I am obsessed with U.S. history. I'm obsessed with world history. I know and have learned so much about world history and everything about the U.S. history because I have personally studied it myself. Mm-hmm. And I have read books and I've watched history movies, and movies are not always the best representation, but I've like reading and watching documentaries and all these different things. And it's like, I try and spend my time, and you can learn that way. And I don't have the degree, but I can definitely teach you a lot about American history.
Any history fact or any history
Naomi,
question.
so there was one thing that came up. Naomi's
Wait, are you going to embarrass me?
No, Naomi asked me. No, not embarrassing. She like had this little thing. It's like Washington. Yeah. It was Washington, Abraham Lincoln, JFK, and
like Thomas
Jefferson. It's like, what was their favorite meal? And I got every single one of them right.
Yeah, it was like match the president to their favorite food or
and
something.
I remembered I actually remembered like those there were key it wasn't just like Herbert Hoover. Like nobody really cares anything about Herbert Hoover,
He did stuff.
No, not really. But yeah, with history, I'm obsessed with it. And I learn it so much, and I'd love to be a teacher, but I don't want to go through the process of becoming a teacher.
I think you should.
I know, but
that is also the frustrating part. Is college basically gives you that stamp of approval that you're qualified. So
but I can go into a class. I can go into a U.S. history class tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
and I can teach U.S. history.
Yeah, I believe
easily.
Yeah,
because you just get a book most of the time. Yeah. I'm learning through the pandemic that it's all out of a book, and you just got to teach out of a book.
Yeah, I mean, we're not qualified to teach first grade, but here we are. We're also not qualified to be BCBAs for Timothy.
I'm not bashing on teachers. No. I love you guys. But
I couldn't do
it's
that.
Like you can learn. That's the thing. You can learn so much. And maybe Naomi's a 3, so she needs to have the trophy. She needs to have the what is that word?
The shiny
degree, the trophy, all that, she needs that. With me, it's like, I don't feel like I need to have that. I don't feel like I need to have the degree in U.S. history to be able to talk about U.S. history. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't feel like I have to have a degree in biblical studies in order to talk about Jesus. Right. I don't feel like I need to go to Bible school in order to be a pastor. Like, that's my mindset and who I am. It's like, no, I'm capable of doing these things because I've learned, and I've learned from others that know it, and I've gotten taught by them, and I did it for free. Yeah. And I should be able to go and tell other people about this. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not bashing college, but for me personally, I just feel it's so bad. It's like, why are you paying for this when you can literally sit on your couch and learn all about this?
But that's the thing, is businesses
want the degree. They want the check mark saying that you sat in a class and you listened. This is
what I heard from a recruiter, is that it's not so much, it depends on the job, but it's not so much about the degree qualifying the person for the job. It's the commitment to school. Yep. Which a recruiter actually told me, like, hey, do people need this job to work in cold calling sales? Not so much. But the reason we look for it is because it was a commitment to finish it, which they believe relates to the commitment of the position that they're applying for.
But half the time these kids they're not even trying. Most of the time they use Spark Notes on most of their essays. Most of the time they finish, but they finish by cheating their way through it. It's like half the people do that.
Yes, but I do think, and I don't think it's ever going to change unless all the companies decide to start changing.
That's together. The thing. If you want college to become something where people can come out of it and get good jobs, then the workforce, the companies, the tech companies, the petroleum, like all these different places, and say, this is what we need. Teach this. Yeah. Don't teach dance theory. Don't teach that. Like, this is what we need taught, so that the practicalness when they come into the job field, like you work with learning management systems, LMS systems, and Naomi, it does a great job at it. But you can't just learn that stuff. You have to go to like a trade school, basically, a certificate to kind of learn that stuff sometimes. But it's like, if college were able to be like, hey, these are really good paying jobs that you can get by, understanding how to code and how to understand learning management systems, how to run it. Like, if colleges were to teach that kind of stuff, it would set people up for success.
I also want to plug feminism real quick, because I believe wholeheartedly that if companies started recognizing the job fields that women were not applying for because they're not do not roll your eyes at me. This is real.
Okay.
I think, so if we want more women to be scientists and we want more women to be rocket engineers.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Companies that are lacking the women in those departments should be telling colleges, hey, women, come work here. We will hire you. Go to school for this.
Buttload of money.
Exactly. If someone would have told me at 18, Naomi, there are no women that work in software engineering. You need to take this school, get this degree, and you're going to make this much, and you will get hired because you're a woman. Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, you would have.
So I think both are at a loss, right? Because the students going to college don't know what they want to do, or maybe they do, but they're now in debt and they're having a hard time getting jobs. And then companies are like, hey, we actually need people to be qualified for these positions, but they're not getting that from colleges. And I feel like there should be a better interaction between the two.
No, I agree. And yeah, I'm not going to go on that tangent that you just brought up.
That's fine.
I'm not going to talk about it.
You don't have to.
You know how passionate I am about like all the different job fields and everything like that. But okay. I think, yeah, what you're saying is really true. I really feel that companies, and then also high schools. Okay, so in high school, when I was in Moore Park, California, our high school did like a career day where we literally had professionals from all different job fields come in, and you could literally go. And they basically canceled school for a day. Cool. You had to be at school, but they canceled all your normal classes, and you spent a day going to different job fairs, basically. It wasn't a job fair, but it was a career opportunities. And then they would talk about what they have to do in order to do their job, what degrees they needed to have in order to have that job, what are the certificates, what is sometimes the pay that you're going to going to have out of that. And they spent time telling you. I just went to the military stuff because I thought it was cool, or the computer stuff, or the gaming. I went in anyways.
Every boy wants to like be paid to play games.
Exactly.
And there's like maybe 2 in the whole world.
There's a lot. But it was such a great opportunity. So I think I think that's why me and Naomi are passionate about it. I feel like we're failing this next generation when it comes to schooling, because our schools have such a great opportunity to bring in professionals to mold the minds of these kids, especially young women, of like influencing them, like, hey, come into biotech or come into coding. We want you to come into it because you guys can be able to do this and that and this, and then showing them like, hey, this amount of dollars, this six-figure salary will get you if you do this. Show me the numbers. Just show us how much you make, and
I could love any job if I'm getting paid good.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure.
But at 18, if somebody would have told me, if you do this job, you will get nothing less than $100,000 a year, I would have been like, where do I sign?
Exactly. And I think that's where me and Naomi are passionate. I am not a fan of college. I think it's a waste of, personally, I think it's a waste of time in certain situations. I think it's a waste of money for a lot of people. Trade school, I fully on board with trade school or certificate, like getting your certificates in different areas is amazing opportunity for certain people, or even join the military. I am a component of believing that the military is a great opportunity to teach people great careers if you choose the right job. Don't go into the military and just be a grunt. Okay, you need grunts, but you also need people who are in human resources. You need people that are diesel mechanics. You need people that are water treatment plant workers.
But don't the people in infantry make fun of the people who work in HR?
Yeah, they call them pogues, okay? They call them pogues.
But ignore them.
People other than grunt. That's what it stands for, if you didn't know. So I bet you didn't know that's what pogue stands for, right? No, I didn't. People other than grunts. Huh. But yeah, there's so many different jobs that you can go into in the military that will have great opportunity outside, and companies hire veterans with those experiences. Yeah. And that's why I'm a component of the military. I think it's great. Plus you get free college. So if you did want to go to college, you can literally get your college paid for while you're in and when you're out of the military. And guess what? If you join active duty, I'm not a recruiter, but if you join active duty, you can transfer your GI Bill, post 9/11 GI Bill, to your spouse. So if your spouse has a ton of debt in school loans, you can literally get it paid off using it.
Why'd you say she?
Or he.
Exactly.
Because the majority of women go to college.
Oh, okay.
That's the percentage.
That is true.
In the United States. But anyways, again, I'm not trying to bash going to college. No, Naomi's not trying to bash not going to college.
Yeah, it's just, I think there's a lot to learn and things are changing. Yeah. I don't think it's as easy as go to college when you graduate anymore. I think it's very different now, and the job market's very different now, and what people truly need when they hire someone, I don't think is so much just a degree anymore, depending on what field you're going into. But yeah, you better believe when our kids are old enough to start looking at colleges, I'm going to talk to them more about, what do you want to do? Do you want to go to trade school? I don't think.
Do you want to join the military? I think
I'm going to push the military, Aaron.
If Marcus comes to me and says, "Dad, I really want to join the military," I'd be like, "Hey, what job do you want to do in the military?"
Pogue.
Be a pogue. Be a pogue. It's great to be a pogue. Okay.
Don't be the ones that look for roadside bombs. That's all.
That's EOD. I was trying. I tried out for EOD. I wanted to go, but then I decided not to. But yeah, if Marcus came to me and he came to us and said, "Dad, I don't know if I want to go to college. I don't think college is my kind of thing." I'd be like, "Okay, let's take a year off and let's spend a year, get you in the job force, get you working, and see where we're at in a year." Mm-hmm. And I would want to work with him and get that. And if he becomes a bum, definitely I'm taking him to the recruiter station and I'm signing up for the Army or the Marine Corps or the Air Force, actually, honestly. And be like, you're going to go for 3 years minimum and you're going to join and they're going to straighten you out. If Marcus became lazy, which he's not going to be that kind of person.
And he's going to want to go to college for acting.
Yeah, he's a little actor, but we'll see. That can pay. Matthew McConaughey is a great actor.
I mean, barely went to school.
Well, yes. So
lots of pros. It really just depends on your position.
Like,
where do you want to be and what steps you have to take to get there. And I would just encourage you, if you're 18 years old, just think twice about student loan debt when you sign those papers.
Exactly.
That's what I wish I would have done.
Definitely need to think about. Ooh. We're not too much in, but it's a lot.
It's enough.
Anyways, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Naomi.
And this has been Not Your Normal Life. We will catch you guys next week, next Friday. See you there.
Same place.
Bye-bye.
Bye.